I have the pleasure here today being with my friend
Yay!
Zanna Roberts Rassi.
Hi, babe.
I've known her for a long time, but more importantly, I want to talk about it. I think she's an inspiration for a lot of people, and I think she's got a great story. And I'm hoping that today we just have a quick coffee and cheers to
Cheers!
and a little conversation. So, when I first met you,
Oh, God.
you were working for Mary Claire.
Yes.
And you had just come from, I mean, you were living in England and then make the big move. Tell me a little about that. What was that like?
So I must have just made the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was very green. I lived in London as beauty editor for 7 years. Moved here 2 years after meeting my now husband. But moved from a beauty industry as a magazine editor, into a fashion industry in America, in a very corporate office, if you like. Loads more money in the industry, a lot more advertising, a lot more people involved. It was almost like I really graduated. It was taken very seriously here. And then I went from kind of a beauty world to a fashion world, which was also a big change. It was an incredible leap of faith. Although when I did it, I didn't even think twice about it. I just went straight into it. I just knew I wanted to be in New York. I knew I was going to miss my family like crazy, my friends like crazy, this career that I built up in the UK. But I really didn't look back. I didn't even through all the process of getting the visas and getting the job application and figuring out the house and moving entire life. It was just something I just charged for.
So did you have it? So did you have a goal? I mean, obviously you were in the America as a fashion editor, but did you actually just wanted to get to New York? Because I didn't know that. You just said you really just wanted to come to New York. So so it wasn't as much career based that this was a good career move or this because I had this plan. It was I wanted to get to New York.
New York I always loved when I'd been to visit because I had to do that as a beauty editor. I'd come on a lot of trips to New York. I'd met Rassi, but for 2 years we went back and forth from London to New York because I was never going to say I will move to New York just on the back of a guy, right? I built this career in the UK. I was very proud of what I'd done in a very short time at an early age. So by 25 I was a beauty director, and I wasn't going to let that go. So I was waiting for the right job to come along, and as if by magic it literally landed on my lap. I met the fashion director at Marie Claire at a party when I was in New York, and she said, I'm looking for a fashion editor. I was like, I don't do fashion, I'm on beauty. She's like, no, I think I've seen your work, I think you could do this. So from there the process started, and I just literally never looked back.
Yeah, a lot of people think they see you on TV and doing things, and they just think you was like you just been on TV. But I remember, like you said, you were a fashion editor, but it did just kind of quickly went. Like next thing you know, you are on Project Runway. Next thing you know, you're on at the Oscars, and you know it happened. What appears to be really fast, but was it as fast as it seems? Because to me, it seems incredibly fast. But
I think it was. I mean, I remember doing my first TV segment in the US. I think it was for The View. I was doing a fashion segment. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just remember like really preparing for it, working really hard. It was like a coach segment or something. Being with the women there, understanding the production of it all, just revising, like really researching everything, all my lines, like going on it, and I just loved it, and I love the energy of it. And preparation. I'm a preparer. Today, I will, no matter what I'm doing, I will prepare. But yeah, and then from there it kind of snowballed. It was like, oh, and then Rachel Ray, and I started doing segments with Rachel, and became a fashion buddy, and then started doing Today Show segments, and then got this gig on a show called The Shop, which was back in the day.
Oh, I do remember that.
That was when I first started in the US. Yeah, so it happened rapidly. It was something that I honestly did not plan. I did not say to myself, I want to be on TV. It definitely just
But once
happened.
you got there, you said you thoroughly enjoyed it. So then you got a bug.
Yeah.
Then you just sought it after it. You went after it.
Well, you know, when you do something, you have to recognize as soon as possible in life what you love to do and what makes you happy. And then I think if you can focus on that, you are going to never feel like you're going to work a day in your life if you're really enjoying it. However, it took me a long time to figure out that that's what I wanted to do because I had so many other things. I still have so many other things going on. You know, it's really about focusing and just saying to yourself, checking in with yourself, right? So it's like, did I enjoy that today? What did I like about it? What didn't I like about it? How could I change that in the future?
Well, that's interesting. So it's not exactly what, but check it in with yourself. Tell them what do you mean. I find that interesting.
So, I mean, I try and do it more. It's hard, you know. I think we all lead such busy lives. We just go with the flow, and I did for a long time. But now, when I have got so many roles as a mother, as an editor, as a co-founder of a makeup company, as a TV person, I have to really sit with myself and say, what was good today, what was not good today. Or wake up in the morning and be like, what 3 things do I want to get done today? I try and do that. Look, it's hard. Like, is that part of a meditation? It kind of, I suppose.
Self-reflection's important.
Yeah.
But you can get too busy that you forget to do that. And instead of checking yourself every day, you're checking yourself once a year, and then you don't even realize that. So, and that's important because you're now a mother in a very high-profile career. But so let's talk about that since we're on the kind of the topic of self-reflection. What's it like? You're traveling everywhere, but then you're still a mom, a wife.
Yeah, it's no joke, and I think the word balance is something that's been bantered around for so long, right? And how that's the question I get asked.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance. How do you juggle being a working mom? I don't believe in the word balance. I truly think it's a fallacy. I don't think there's any way that if I start counting the hours I spent with the kids versus the hours I was in a certain work, job, role, it would be always off balance, and being off balance would mean I'm stressed.
And by balance, obviously, towards work.
Yeah, I just don't think there's the idea that you can spend a certain number of hours and that has to be in balance with the hours that you spend with your kids or your family. I don't think that's ever going to work for me personally. I think what I can do though is when I'm with the kids, I'm with the kids. When I'm in that job, I'm in that job. And then have clear boundaries between the two, and that's my way of balancing.
So that is balance, because balance isn't hours. It's
That's
not
the thing.
50
Yeah,
hours versus 50 hours of this.
Which
Balance is here. It's who you are and how you view those, the amount of stock you put into something, perhaps. Because I've seen you with the kids, and I'm fortunate enough to, especially lately, be able to see you, Thanksgiving and for extended periods of time, and you are that way. I mean, I don't see you on your phone. I don't see you working. I don't. Well, maybe you're doing a second, but I don't. But I see you with the kids. But you guys you're taking advantage of the moment. I do see that.
Yeah, and it's so special when you are with them, and I think there's those simple moments and being present when you actually enjoy it. Like you feel the love, you feel the happiness, you feel the joy. But you have to be there. And I'm guilty as everyone else that's having a phone in my hand. And I live in a world of social media, right? So it's hard sometimes to separate the two when I have kind of opened up my life a little bit to social media, right? And I do put my kids on Instagram. And that's something that I do grapple with occasionally. I'm like, should I be doing this? Do they want to, like, mummy picks the phone up. Is that going to be a problem? Like, up until now, it's fine. If it ever became a problem, I would be the first one to put my phone down and put it away and say,
and the reason that you'll know it is because what we just talked about is that you do take the time to analyze a little bit of how was I, and so if you didn't do that reflection, then you would know that it's a problem, which I don't think the people do know it's a lot of problem, and I think you're aware of that. That's great.
But the self-reflection thing, I need to work on. I think we all do. I'm way not there, and I think it's something that I should absolutely, and everyone should make themselves do it daily.
Agreed. Do Rumi and Juno know what you do?
You should ask them. So we say, what does mummy and daddy do? So mummy, she works on a plane with where my office is. Milk makeup is usually their answer. They see the word milk and now they say milk makeup. And they just think I work in like clothes, which is kind of
but they see you on
crazy
TV, right? They see you on TV.
They do, but they also
How
so when we used to see people on TV, it was like, oh my God, they're on TV. Like for our kids, they're looking at screens all day long. Yeah. They see themselves on video, whereas we never used to have that as children. So it's funny watching them see mummy on TV. They get a minute excited, but then it's like, it's just mummy on a screen. They don't understand the gravity of national TV to 6 million people on a Today Show segment.
Yeah, especially these days. You were just at the Oscars, and
the royal wedding.
Everybody wants to know, what's your favorite memory of being
Oscars?
At the Oscars?
Okay, there's a few. I mean, for E, we basically set ourselves up in the Roosevelt Hotel, which is opposite to the actual Oscars red carpet, and we're at the panel by the pool, and we have a whole day filled with content. So I've been there and we've had tigers by the pool, we do fashion shows, we have beauty examples, we have celebrities there, we talk about the fashion, and I'll be on a panel with like the Juliana Rancics of the world, who's amazing, so smart, so gracious, incredible host, and who I always learn a lot from being on camera with, to like Kris Jenner is on the panel with us, who's just hilarious to work with. Again, so smart, quick. There was one moment she stole, I had this Valentino dress on, it had like detachable cuffs and collars, and I think wasn't wearing the collar, and she took it from my assistant and put it on for the actual segment, and we all just turned around, she's like wearing this collar, like part of my dress. It was just hilarious, and I think it went viral in the end because she just started, I mean, it's just fun, right? People who have fun with what they do. You know, and then I think they were filming the Kardashians at the same time, and Khloe was there, and we were just drinking shots at the end of it. I mean, it's fun. And, you know, I count myself so lucky that I am in one of the most magical, monumental days of the year for the film.
For that world, yes, absolutely.
And I'm part of it, and you know, that goes back to what I do. My job is entertaining. It's about entertainment, fashion, beauty, things that people consume at their leisure. I'm a part of, which is how do I find that hard work? I cannot find that hard work.
While we were having coffee, we were talking about identity for a moment, but I was just thinking back. You were talking about the Oscars, and you know, we're from Champaign, and you're in Champaign visiting, and so this is a small town, and every time you're on TV, you know, the people are friends from Champaign, like Zanna's on TV, Zanna's on, you know, and it's and so like, yeah, I know, but she's always on TV, right? So we know this, but how do you? Because there's a lot of people that are on TV and they take themselves a little bit too seriously. They jumble in their career as into their entire identity of who they are, and then they get off track a little bit. They might not end up being as good a mom or those things as they want. You think about that, but we just talked about of how do you keep your identity not being Zanna on TV, but being Zanna holistically, because you're more than just Zanna at the red carpet or Zanna as a Project Roma judge. You're Zanna. Like, I know you as Zanna. Your career is beautiful and amazing, but I kind of think of you as Zanna. How do you make sure that you stay that way yourself?
Well, I think it's not just people on TV. I think you can get wrapped up in any job, you know,
Absolutely.
Businessman, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
I always go, look, it's the values that I was taught as a kid, right? So what's important to me is it's honesty, integrity, a sense of humor, not taking myself too seriously.
But that's sometimes that's hard to do.
No, but I think once you figure that out, and that's why people like maybe what I do on TV. You know, it's always about the person watching it. It's not really about me. You can't take it too seriously. I say things with truth. I don't make things up. I don't sensationalize, probably to my detriment on TV, because
there's a lot of exaggeration.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at that. I'll leave that to my husband.
That's probably why people like you. That's probably why people like you, because you don't come across as that.
I like to be honest,
and it's
I like
authentic.
to be me, and I don't find it difficult having a camera, no matter how big an audience, and not being myself, which is...
You just said you figured it out. So was there a moment that you said that as
practice.
if you, but I'm saying you clearly made a choice, or are we just talking this happened naturally? That you said that you figured out, not take myself too seriously.
So an example would be watching myself on TV when I know I was having fun and being honest and true to myself and saying exactly what I really was thinking. The TV's better, right? And I know I had fun doing it. If I watched somewhere where I remember being a little bit uncomfortable, hadn't learned something, didn't really understand the people I was with maybe, and I look genuinely not at home or comfortable, and that comes across on camera. So as soon as you are happy in yourself, you radiate confidence, and that's as deep as I can get with it. But all I know is that when I'm confident in myself,
there's
then
no doubt.
It radiates.
There's absolutely no doubt. One last business question is transition to makeup, and actually, you know, you guys are the founders of Milk Makeup.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, it's amazing just the fact that I go into a store and I see Milk and I'm like, oh my God, that's Zanna Mazda. But a lot of risk, I mean, this was a big move. You're putting a lot of stock in this.
Yeah, a lot. Obviously, you know, it's time, financial, emotional, everything. Physical sometimes. But we're doing it because we really believe in it. build this brand because it was the right time to do a makeup company. It was the right time for us to launch something that we've been thinking about since I met Rassi, so 14 years ago.
Editor for
yeah, I was
you
beauty
started
editor.
as a
And that's what I find most fulfilling about it, I think, because it's all the different things I've done in my life now coming under one roof. So I was a beauty editor, I understand the beauty industry. I'm a stylist, so I understand how to create beautiful content. I know photographers, makeup artists, models. I'm on camera, so I can present the brand in a way to, if I'm at a Sephora conference or if I'm at BeautyCon, right? So it's the outward-facing presentation of it all. So I think it's all these different facets of the things I've done throughout my many careers coming together in something that we do.
And what is it you want from it going forward? Like, you know, in the next 6 months, a year. What is success to you regarding Milk Makeup?
There's nothing nicer than being at a dinner or like even here last night, we're in Champaign, Illinois, and I was talking to a girl I didn't even know, and she was telling me how much she loved the highlighter and lit. And that to me is everything. It's not about growth and success, and obviously that's nice, but to me success is someone pulling it out their purse going, oh my god, this is amazing. And I'm like,
and it's
you
yours,
love it?
and it's like mine. It's mine.
No, it's that.
Yeah.
That to me is like being with your kids and watching them all use the makeup is just everything. And I don't think, you know, if they're using products as well that are good for them, and that's super important to me. And we're not putting any old stuff in these products.
Right.
They're very, very considered and thoughtfully made from components, formulations. So that goodness is being used by great people, and they're telling me about it. That is.
And whether it was timing, but it seems to be what people care about these days. They actually just don't want a product. They want a product that there's a story behind and something
behind and a community behind and thoughtfully produced. You know, like we're 100% vegan. We don't put any nasties in our products. You won't find any silicones, dimethicones, toxins. Never tested on animals, and that is super important.
Last but not least, so you know, in my book Perfect Pain, to me it was my journey with trying to continuously find my authentic self, and I still do. I hope I'll never get there. You've talked a little bit about it today. What do you do, and what steps do you have to either, if you're giving advice to young people that eventually could get wrapped up in being on TV and in a little bit of the light of staying authentic and being authentic, like, you know, how do you do it, and any advice for new people, young kids out there that want to be Zanna?
It's tough. I'd love to know how you do it, because it is a
therapy. 15 years of psychoanalysis therapy.
And that's it. Look, and
I had to have help.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think most people, we should all talk to somebody.
I agree.
Be it, even psychologists have psychologists for a
They
reason,
do.
right?
They
so,
do. They absolutely do.
I always go back to it. I said it before, but it's to me, it's going back to my roots, right? It's going back from where I came from what my parents deemed in our family to be important values. So it would be being honest with each other, loving each other, having fun. It's like, and especially in what we do, I'm not curing anyone, right? We are definitely not. I'm in fashion and beauty and entertainment.
The fact that you know that it's just very interesting that you said that.
It's fun. We're definitely not doctors. There's people out there doing much more important jobs than we're doing.
I think that's.
But if we're entertaining someone, giving them a minute of escapism, then I am, for one, I'm going to enjoy doing that for other people. And I count myself so lucky to be doing exactly what I'm doing. Every day I wake up and like, well, I don't feel, very few days do I feel like I'm going to work.
Do you feel there's a stigma with getting help, talking to somebody, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever it may be? Do you think there's in your world, is there
No,
a bit of a
absolutely not. Not in my world. I think in other worlds, I mean, it's quite a liberal world I work in, right? So it's fashion, it's beauty, it's people who speak quite easily about their emotions. It's quite heated, you know, people are passionate, so it's okay. I think in England, absolutely no. It's only just...
Absolutely no...
it's not considered...
You don't want to talk about it. There's a stigma.
There's a stigma, exactly.
You're
so
wrong.
in
Something's
England,
wrong
there's a stigma, I'd say, maybe not as much, but when I left there and I came to America, I remember more people have therapy quite openly here. And that, to me, I was like, oh, being English, we just don't talk about our emotions. Well, I'm talking about like way back, like my parents wouldn't. Like they would see that as a stigma, for sure. Like, oh, really, therapy? But I think it's the only way, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many great even you don't have to have an expensive therapist. I think just to meditate, to listen to a podcast with great people, to, you know, if you Oprah and Deepak, like I've downloaded that many a time, and in my free time I'll listen to that on a walk, and that's therapy in itself.
People, especially as they gain power, success, which they all go hand in hand, they get to a point that they're very successful in something, like you in that career, but then they just assume they're good at everything, and they're not good at everything. So just because you're good at what you do, it doesn't make you good here. It doesn't make you this. So you need help. So you sometimes have to go get help, and you have to get advice. You have to read. If you don't have time, or you know it's too expensive to go get therapy, you can go read. You can listen to podcasts, but at least you can just be engaged with the idea that, you know, I maybe can't do something like this on my own.
So
it's
true.
important to recognize it.
I read something yesterday. It was on a tombstone in the Champagne graveyard, and they said it's not what I've done in the past. It's not what I'm going to do in the future. It's what lies here.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah. This has been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for the that was fun. That was fun, and,
fun.
Thanks for having a cup of coffee with me.
Thank you.
And,
now I want to turn the table
best
and
of luck.
Parham all these questions.
Milk makeup. All right. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks.